Abergavenny, on the Great Western's Welsh Borders line from Hereford to Newport. Although we think of the London North Western Railway mainly in terms of its West Coast main line, it did have a major presence in South Wales, reached by virtue of running powers over the Great Western. In the yard at Abergavenny, two characteristic northwestern locomotives are seen preparing for the end of an era, as the 5th of January 1958 was the closure date for the Heads of the Valleys route from Abergavenny to Merthyr, the LNWR's double-track line that had been built to take coal from South Wales to the industrial heart of England. Joining the train, we first passed through Abergavenny Brecon Road Station, the North Western's own station where its sheds were situated. The train is comprised of 5 LMS coaches, not a difficult task for the two engines. One of the causes of closure runs alongside, as the coal tank leads the Super D round the endless succession of reverse curves, necessary to take advantage of the northern slopes of the South Wales mountains, along which the line ran. Crowds met the train at most intermediate stations. This is Govilon, first station out from Abergavenny. Despite the speed at which we ran in, this was a stop. Wait for the restart. The two engines were rather more accustomed to freight work, both types being allocated to this very heavily graded line for use on the coal traffic for many years. This was, of course, the principal reason for its existence, passenger traffic being of a secondary nature. The coal tanks, despite their name, were used on these. Here we passed through Gilwern Halt, the platforms of which survive today. Next are the signal box and sidings for Clydach, which are situated on the east side of a viaduct before reaching Clydach Halt, where rather fewer spectators awaited the train. These platforms also survive today. Twin tunnels avoided a diversion round the end of the mountain and through Clydach village, which is mostly situated on the northern bank of the River Clydach, whose deep valley the line had followed from Gilwern. Here the line twisted and turned to gain height, as the valley was left near Blackrock Halt, situated at the source of the river, which fell from Mynydd or Mount Llangapel. Our next port of call is Bryn Mawr, the junction until 1954 of a line to Blaenavon, which is now reopened as a preserved line at Blaenavon as the Pontypool and Blaenavon Railway. Bryn Mawr didn't lose all its trains in 1958, as it was also the junction for a line to Nantaglo, which survived for a further 4 years. At Beaufort, the short freight branch to Ebbw Vale was taken, turning straight onto it at Ebbw Vale Junction. This LNWR branch had no connection with the Great Western lines from Newport, and had lost its passenger service on the 2nd of April 1951. However, it was to last for another 21 months after the special ran, keeping the Beaufort to Nantabouch section of the Heads of the Valley line open for that period, for freight only. Nantabouch Viaduct survives today, but the rest of the track bed from Beaufort is now a main road as far as Dowlais Top. From Nantabouch to Rumney Bridge, the North Western had running powers over Rumney Railway metals, and at the latter station, the train took the Rumney Railway's main line as far as Rumney itself, forming the last train on the line to that point. This tour was organised by the Midlands area of the Stevenson Locomotive Society, the secretary of which was one W.A. Cam Campbell, so this tour was of particular interest to him. As we saw at the beginning of the first volume of this series, the SLS organised a rail tour to celebrate Cam's 80th birthday in 1986, using the selfsame coal tank used in 1958, as this was the last of the class and was subsequently preserved. We are now running into the eastern part of Merthyr at Dowlais Top. Dowlais High Street Station was on a curve as the line made its long and tortuous approach to Merthyr itself. This was the final focus stop. At Penywern Junction, a 21-chain loop joined the Brecon and Merthyr line to Dowlais Central Station. Pantas Galan, was the last purely northwestern station before the line plunged under Pant in a long tunnel to emerge at Morlaix Junction, where the Brecon and Merthyr Railway's main line joined from the north. The final approach, on a falling gradient, was over the single line jointly owned by the Northwestern and Brecon and Merthyr Railways. Kevin Coyd was the second of 3 stations on the joint line, which described a semicircle around Merthyr on its western flank. Hoyle Gerrig Halt was a short distance before the line joined the Great Western's Neath to Aberdare and Merthyr branch, with a final run-in to the terminus at Merthyr High Street Station. As night fell, the Northwestern engines said their final farewell. This wasn't quite the end of LNWR lines in the valleys, as the line from Tredegar to 9 Mile Point joined a Great Western line to Risca, where we see a classic Great Western 062 tank on a train to Nantaglo. The line to 9 Mile Point curved to the left. Tredegar became the passenger terminus for 2.5 years, losing its trains on the 13th of June 1960. Freight services survived a little longer, to the 4th of November 1963. For the last few years, Great Western panniers undertook most duties, looking incongruous against typical Northwestern signals and architecture. Tredegar's 4-road shed had once boasted 24 locomotives in its allocation, including some of the famous 084 tanks designed by Beams, especially for the Valley Line.